Hello WinCraps fans. Recently I did a video on Waylon's 410 DP ladder, and I've had a few requests to run some simulations with that and some variations and kind of compare it. So I thought I'd put 4 of them together here for you, and we'll just kind of walk through it here. I've got 4 players set up, Waylon, and that's the original 410 DP script, and I have a video on that if you want to look at that. The second one, I've got win goal. It's basically the same script, the 410 DP ladder. In this case, the win goal is 10% versus the 20% in the original script. Then I've set up another one that is the original script with the 20% win goal. The only difference in this one is it includes a 7-11 hedge for come-out rolls. And it's been suggested to use a hedge on there, and no one really suggested an amount. So for this, we kind of set it just to cover the don't pass, and I'll kind of walk through the AutoBet script and show you what I've done that. And the last player, unit 50, is also the same routine, only instead of using basic units of $100, it's using units of $50. So let's take a look at the AutoBet files, the scripts, and I'll give you a quick walkthrough here. So here's the original Waylon script. You see we've got units of $100. Also have some stuff in here about sessions. I've got some lines in here that I added in because I'm using Waylon's script as kind of a session manager. Now I have a video on this as well. It's talking about multiple players with multiple scripts, and you can view that, and if you want to know more about setting up a session manager to run multiple players. At any rate, here's the original script here with the buys and losing and winning, and the don't pass winning and losing. The original bets, for the basic minimum bets, calling the bets on, and then for here we have the stop loss and win goals. And because it's multiple players, we're setting check stack 19 equals the number of rolls, so we can track how much rolls each player has separately had. And then since this Waylon here is the session manager, when all players have finished their sessions, then he's resetting the whole thing. Now let's take a look here at win goal 10. This is the same script, except it has a win goal here of 10% of beginning bankroll as opposed to 20%. It doesn't have any of the session manager material, but everything else is the same. And 7-11 hedge. This script, once again, is the same, 20% beginning bankroll for the win goal. Same bets, everything except down here we're saying on the come out roll, and if the don't pass is greater than 200. So in other words, if we're starting at 100, that's 1 unit. For the buy 4 and the buy 10, it would be 2 units for the don't pass. So when the don't pass exceeds the 2 units, in other words greater than 200, then you're on the second level, and that's when we start the hedges. The hedge is 25% of the don't pass on the 7 and 6.25% of the don't pass on the 11. So if either of those hit, it will cover the value of the don't pass. Now, if of course if we roll a 7 on the come out, we're going to lose the buy bets as well. You could hedge for that as well, but then the hedge is really going to get up there. And I think you'll see as we go on here that the hedge probably is not the greatest idea, so you probably wouldn't even want to go above this 25%. And of course the last player here we've got is the units are set at 50, but it's the same 20% of beginning bankroll. Now I've done a little different thing here that I want to show you before we get started. You may have noticed or remembered that in some of the videos I was mentioning there's many ways to write these scripts. You can come up with different ideas of how to do things. So I thought about the original Waylon script, and I kind of came up with a more compact, a different way to run it. So you might be interested to look at that. Let's talk about that for just a second. Rather than running through all those levels of bets that we did, what I'm basically doing is looking at the bet results screen, and since we know that the buy 4 bet and the buy 10 bet are always the same amount, and the don't pass bet is always twice the amount of each of those individual bets, then what we can do is, since Waylon is going up and down the ladder without regards to VIG, we have to come up with a way to disregard the VIG. And of course we did that in the other script. But in this case, what we're doing is we're looking at the bets result screen on the number of bets, the number that have netted. Perhaps I should open that screen just to show you what I'm talking about here. So we're looking down here, the last roll number. So in this row right here, whenever a bet resolves, and on each roll we can look at here and we can see how many bets resolved. Now the dollar amount, of course, is going to tell us the amount of bets that resolved. This is just going to tell us the number of bets. And that's really all we need in the script, because as I said, we know that the buy 4s and 10s are equal and the don't pass is twice the amount. So all we're doing is adding up how many buy 4 bets on the last roll won or lost, and the net, that's what the net does. It says wins minus losses. So we want to know that the net winning and losing, and the buy 10 net winning and losing. Add those together, and then add in the don't pass last roll number of net times 2, because it's twice the amount of the other ones. And that's going to give us a value that's either a negative, a 0, or positive. And then we can decide to stay on the ladder, make the same bet if it's 0, go down the ladder if it's negative, or go up the ladder. Let's see, maybe I have that reversed. If it's positive, we want to go down the ladder. If it's negative, we want to go up the ladder. Okay. So now to make this easy, what I've done is I've made another check stack. We call it check stack number 6. I've just given it a little tag on here. I'm calling it level, and that's saying what level that we're on. So let's say all these bets have a net win, and in a net win, we want to go down a level. So here it says that was check stack 5. We set that value. So if check stack 5 is greater than 0, and if the check stack 6 level is greater than 1, then we're going to subtract 1 from the level. In other words, we're going to go down a level. And I just put this conditional here because we obviously don't want to go into 0 or negative. We always want to stop on a minimum of level 1. And then if check stack 5 is negative, we want to go up a level. So we're going to add 1 to check stack 6 level. Now we could set a maximum on here too, but Waylon never really talked about a maximum, so we just kind of leave it open-ended here. So then we're coming up with the pluses and minuses, we're coming up with a level, and then we just put them together. So we're going to say bet the number of units that we set originally. We said it's a $50 unit, right? So we're going to say the unit 50 times the level. So level 1 would be $50, level 2 would be $100, etc., etc. So we just bet that on buy 4 and 10, bet double the amount on don't pass, call the bets on, and we're done. That's it. So that it's a little more compact than the original script, and as I said, it's just a different way of doing it. Not necessarily better or worse, just thought I'd show you that. All right, so these are all activated. Let's go back to the main screen here, and let's run this a little bit. Just load the hyperdrive down. I've got 4 bankroll screens open. Colors match the player's status boxes, and we can kind of see what's going on here. Maybe I'll slow it down just a little bit more. So you can see I've changed the bankroll readout. Rather than showing a moving average, I'm showing the original bankroll. So here's 6,000. I'll tell you what, I'll stop the hyperdrive and I'll expand this to show you. So the beginning bankroll is 6,000. So anytime bankroll is above the original bankroll, it's going to show in blue, and anytime it's below it, it'll show negative. This particular player, win goal 10, has already hit his win goal, and so he's flatlined here, and that's why it's just showing in blue. We can see here that Waylon, he's flatlined also, hit the win goal, so has the hedge, and the one that's still going here is the unit 50. So we can continue on, see how that goes. He's still down a little bit from bankroll. See if he makes it back up. There he's up above now. Original bankroll. So he might hit the pot. He might hit the win goal as well. Yep, there he hit it. Okay, so he hit it, and they all started over, and we can kind of watch that progress as we're interested. We can speed it up and kind of get a feel for how these things are going. It looks like the one that typically goes the longest down here is the one that has the $50 bet, a $50 unit, as opposed to the $100 unit. Now, once we've accumulated some data, of course, we want to go look at the sessions log and see how they all did. Now, really, to get some meaningful data, we have to collect a lot of sessions. And once again, don't waste your time on this. So I've already rolled quite a few number of sessions, 5,140 to be exact. So let's take a look at some of these. We're going to start with Waylon. And let's start with check stack number 19, which has been set up for the number of rolls for each player. So looking at Waylon, we can see that he has an average of 55.38 rolls per session. And you can look at the histogram if you like, and you can see here's the average. See the lowest was 4 rolls for a session, and the highest was 315 for a session. Win goal 10 has an average of 34, so that's considerably less, and it seems to make makes sense, doesn't it? You can see he's stopping at a lower win goal. 7-11 hedge is quite a bit more, 84, and we can kind of think about why that might be. Maybe there's instances on the come out roll where his 7-11 hedge is saving him from busting out, and maybe that's allowing him to last longer, go longer sessions. And last but not least, unit 50, he's got the highest average rolls per session of all. And of course that makes sense as well. He's betting half the amount, so he can really last quite a bit longer. Let's go back to look at the data here. Now let's check out, well actually before we even check that, let's look up here. If we look at the win percentage, we can see that Waylon has a 63.54% win percentage. That's pretty good. Win goal 10 has a 76.79% win percentage. That's even better. 7-11 hedge, that's pretty low. He has 44.55%. And unit 50 has 64.16%. About the same as what Waylon had. All right, let's look at the average net. And we can see that's starting at the top with Waylon. He averaged $649 lost per session. And all said and done, for the amount that he bet total versus the amount that he handled, the total number of wagers, or dollar amount of wagers resolved, he comes up with minus 5.35% on the advantage. Win goal 10 has much lower loss per session, minus 425, and about the same advantage actually, minus 5.65. 7-11 hedge, wow, has an average loss per session of $1,421 and a minus 6.6% on the advantage. So that doesn't look so good. And unit 50, minus $940 per session. And well, this looks like the best advantage of all though. It's minus 4.5. So what I did is I kind of, just to surmise that, I threw those all together on a little Excel spreadsheet here. So we can see here 5,000 sessions is actually when I recorded this data. Waylon, the win goal, the hedge, and the unit 50. So here's the win percentages. And you can see in blue here I've got the win goal 10 is showing the highest win goal win rate. 7-11 hedge is showing the worst in red. Average number of rolls, didn't put a good or bad. I mean, that's kind of your own judgment. It kind of depends on what you want. If you're looking for short games, long games, or what you think they mean. Average net, win goal 10 has the best of minus $426 per session, and 7-11 hedge has the worst at $1,429. The best advantage was unit 50 at actually it should be a minus 4.58. And the 7-11 hedge was the worst at minus 6.66. So whether these are particularly good or bad, as I said, that's kind of your own judgment. You have to decide. For instance, maybe you feel that the lowest percentage lost per hand or per session is the best of all, and then you would rather play something like a unit 50. On the other hand, maybe you like something that wins more often, and win goal 10, maybe that's more to your liking, 76.7% of the time. So only 25% of the time you're going to bust out. So you be the judge of that. Some other things I think are interesting to look at. If you'll go to the bet results screen, and right now I'm looking at Waylon. I've selected all sessions, and I'm looking at the don't pass bet. Now take a look here at this interesting figure. For the don't pass total dollar, we have a net percentage lost of minus 5.8%. Now, why would that be? Because the don't pass bet should have an average loss of minus 1.4. Now, of course, we're only speaking about 5,000 sessions here, so to really nail these numbers and get them closer to the real expectation, we have to collect a lot more data. These data here aren't necessarily the most accurate. They get more accurate the longer you run. But still, that's quite a bit off, from minus 1.4 to 5.8. So think about this strategy here. What does it do? It's going up and down the ladder according to when any of the three bets collectively win or lose. So let's say that the don't pass bet has gone up to, let's say it's making a $1,000 don't pass bet, and let's say it gets established on a point of 5. Then you roll a 4 and you hit a win on the buy 4, and so now everything comes down the ladder. That means you're going to take money off the buy 4, off the buy 10, and you're going to take money off of the don't pass. Well, as you know, a don't pass, the worst of it is you take the worst of it on the come out roll. Once you've gotten past the come out roll, it's to the player's advantage. So you're actually removing bets at a time when it's at a player's advantage, and that is going to show up here in your percentage loss. So it really is to your detriment to do that. But anyway, just point it out, and you can decide what you want to do with that. One other thing I think I wanted to mention here on the hedge. Win rate is pretty low. The average per session was really bad, and the advantage was pretty bad. I think that kind of, to me, you be the judge again, but to me that kind of points out that the hedge really is not the greatest idea in the world. And you can see now why I was mentioning earlier that an even greater hedge to try and cover the DP and the buy bets would probably be ill-advised. It'd probably look much worse here. Anyway, I hope you had some fun with that, and you can take a look at how I set some of that up and try some of these yourself. Good luck in your scripting, and have fun. Bye.